Let me give you one piece of advice. Be honest. He knows more than you can imagine.
At last. Welcome, Neo. As you no doubt have guessed, I am Morpheus.
It's an honor to meet you.
No. The honor is mine. Please, come, sit. I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole?
You could say that.
I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me. This is the world that you know.
Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Soon as I step on the scene, I'm hearing hoochie screaming.
Sicker than your average. Pop a twist cabbage on instinct. Niggas don't think shit. Think invaders.
Living in a dream world, Neo.
Tim's for my hooligans and
This is the world as it exists today.
I know you want
No.
Yeah, alright.
Why you trapping so?
I got more hoes than
Hop out, drop top, fuck y'all talking, I need it right now. Cash in the area, what goes up, got pumped down.
Getting dough, ain't a thing changed.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible.
Only in Baltimore. It's a fin. The raccoon is on the fin. Look, it's stuck. He's frozen, bruh. The dope fiend lean, bruh. He's on the fin.
Not the raccoon.
Bruh, this is my dog. Baltimore's off the hook. Hey, that's the craziest shit I've ever seen. He's slow. He's so lean. Oh, he about to fall over.
No way.
Dog, what the fuck is going on at Baltimore?
Gravity, why is it $44? Who is Gravity? And why is it $44? It's the tip. The tip? Y'all just put that shit on there? Yeah. All right.
Saturday, y'all. Happy Saturday. Welcome in.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the feature presentation.
Yes. Check 1, 2. All right, so this is the story of King Street Sound, King Street Records. I have a lot of King Street records, and when I was coming up and buying them, I really didn't know the true significance behind the label, but I knew that at the time, as people were promoting and telling me about the label, I made sure that I didn't not buy those records. So this is the first time I'm watching this with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's watch it together for the first time. All right?
This is Club LickA.
Afternoon, beautiful people on this train. Next stop is 59th Street.
King Street will definitely go down in the history books as one of the most important dance labels to exist.
We were trying to save lives. We wasn't thinking about success.
King Street's output became the thing that people knew New York for.
Everything that they were releasing really spoke to what was happening in the club scene, especially on the underground.
I started King Street from my living room.
It was a challenge because dance music was always like the bastard child of the music industry.
One thing I loved about the house community then, I want to say it was all a family.
House music unites everybody.
Imagine being in a race where everyone kind of stops and take a breath and the other guy is still running full speed ahead.
That was King Street.
As an owner of Walton Goggins goggle glasses, I know how to make slick-looking goggle/glasses, but I have no idea how to make
The mid to late 80s into the 90s, I felt New York was an artist melting pot.
New York City was one of those places where a lot of shit was going on, but at the same time, it was like gloomy. Especially for the gloomy part, people needed to go out to places. And New York City was, at the time, it was the pinnacle of the place where you can go and release and have so many options musically to do so.
You had the musical cultures of rap and electronic dance music and punk. Then you had places like Larry Levan and the Paradise Garage going on at the same time.
New York actually provided all those flavors. It was an incredible place to party, to do all the kind of things you wanted to do.
That is one of the most amazing eras in New York City to me. Just the culture and the time of that was just artist-driven. And New York City itself was gritty. It was gritty, it was real.
It led to giving us one of the greatest times, the most interesting times in Clubland.
I just think that was one of the best times New York City changed the world during that time. I figure hip-hop came out of that time.
What up, y'all? What's good? Welcome in.
You had records like Take Some Time Out by Yvonne Turner and Arnold Jarvis. You had visuals, The Music Got Me. You know, records like that, I feel, were the precursor to house music. And at the time, clubs like the Paradise Garage and The Choice were the only places you could go to hear music like that. It wasn't like you could hear it yet on the radio.
If you know anything about New York City and nightlife in New York City, you know the Paradise Garage is legendary.
My most important memory was going to the Paradise Garage every weekend, experience Larry Levan's musical journey and dancing there until the end. It was an unforgettable moment for me.
That's Larry Levan. That's Richard Long. Larry was the DJ, Richard Long built the sound system. Larry Levan was a big inspiration to Hisa.
Hisa and Larry were quite fond of each other. Hisa spent a lot of time in the Paradise Garage, probably why he named the label King Street.
Because the Paradise Garage famously was at 84 King Street. The garage wasn't started to be famous. It was started as a haven to be great at being a party place. It's just about the culture.
When I first got there, I was young, and it blew me the fuck away. And it's the first time I left a club in the afternoon. It was 12 in the afternoon. And I lay in my bed with my arms, and I remember it just like it was yesterday. My hands folded behind my head, trying to figure out where the fuck did I just come from?
The Paradise Garage, it helped me to be free. When you go to parties like a Paradise Garage or a Choice, you know you're wearing a t-shirt, you're wearing a midriff. The midriff for me wasn't about, oh, let me show my stomach off or something. It's because it's getting ready to get hot up in here. So you come to work and work out. And you can see a guy and a girl dancing, and he's gonna lift her and spin her, and we're physical when we dance, we're loud when we dance, we're expressive when we dance. That was the thing about house clubs. And I don't want to forget the Shelter, because many days I was soaking wet at the Shelter.
Not just a DJ who blew me away, but the concept of the club.
It was dancing. Dancing was the centerpiece, where you went to dance to lose yourself every weekend. It was your church. Those spaces gave so many people a home. They gave them a sense of community, a sense of belonging. They were safe spaces where people found their tribe, where they found love. Whatever hang-up or issue they had, you left it all on the dance floor. I can't emphasize enough how important that is. It saved a lot of people's lives.
If you're just now coming in, this is the King Street.
The spirit of the garage is here, and it's not dead, and it's not stopping, and it should continue. Yeah, celebrate. I really, really love you very much.
The reason why I started label was I want to release high quality vocal records, what I inspired from Paradise Garage.
As Chicago was kind of branding house music, it was also simultaneously being formed naturally in other places like New York.
A lot of great clubs, a lot of great music coming out of New York, and house music came in strong. It really took over as the main genre and certainly the underground and the music that I like.
A lot of us kids kind of got together and just like, here's a thing, here's an idea. Oh, let's just come up with it. It was extremely organic and a very charmed experience, I think, at that time in New York.
A gentleman by the name of Greg Day, who used to work A&R for King Street, we met him at a party. I said, all right, Greg, I have a track. But really, I'm thinking if I can just get them to write a check, we can get the phone bill paid. Then we met Hisa, of course, and at that time, Hisa was operating out of his apartment.
For first year or two, I was living paycheck to paycheck and releasing one records. And a few months later, we collected money from the distributors and then release another records. I wasn't suffering, but if the one or two records doesn't sell, I don't think I can continue to doing a label.
As a result of that meeting of that first day, Hisa and I grew to be like brothers. He wasn't a DJ, he wasn't a songwriter, he wasn't a record producer. He got into the business for the love of the music, and he wanted to do the business of the music. That became his art form.
King Street was, I have to say, was one of the first strong independent labels that represented New York City when it comes to underground music.
They were part of the foundation of what was being played and listened to here in New York in the early 90s. All the music that they wound up putting out subsequently, just one after the other, just cemented themselves as like legitimate contenders in the scene.
So you found an awesome job post, but your resume is outdated? No worries. With Adobe Acrobat Pro, super easy.
My bad, my bad.
I love Hisa. He didn't talk much, but he was a man of action.
The genius of Hisa is that he was able to identify the genius artist that was of that time. He's worked with all the greats. Kerry Chandler, Dee Morales, Masters at Work.
So he was wise enough to use homegrown talent.
He complimented the artists that were happening around the time. I mean, Louis, he brought Louis to Japan for the first time. He brought Body and Soul. He brought Morales, you know, Frankie Knuckles. Like, he would do the quintessential quality artists that really have stood the test of time. So, an admirable man, to say the least.
He was really interested in building a bridge between New York and Tokyo.
I want to introduce great dance music to Japanese audience.
Heath kept asking me to come to Japan because he said my records were very popular out there.
To have a huge fan base in a country that you would think no one has even heard of you, and then you step in the door and it's
Raiders, welcome in.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
Welcome in, y'all.
When people ask me
Rhino.
what is my favorite place to play
CZ,
in the
thank you
world,
for that
I
raid.
always say Tokyo.
How y'all doing? We're watching.
There was a
the
club
story
called
of
Club Yellow
King Street Records
in Tokyo that was
documentary.
probably
Come on in and
the
enjoy
equivalent of what the Paradise Garage was
My name is
for
DJ LickA Shot.
us here in
Welcome
New
in,
York.
y'all.
I believe that was the last
for the
place that
raid.
Larry
Appreciate
Levan
you.
played.
My very first time in Japan, I remember playing a famous Club Yellow in Tokyo. What really struck me was the amount of knowledge that audience had already for the music. Some of these songs that I would be playing at the time weren't even out available on vinyl yet. They knew the songs, they knew the lyrics, and they were reacting to it, and they were screaming to these songs, and that just blew me away.
Like, they know everything, and the kids come with all the vinyl and the sleeves, and they want everything signed. You're like, wow, okay, this music really does permeate everywhere.
I will get really emotional because of the intensity of the audience. They love the music. Don't speak no English. Don't understand even what the song is saying.
Saturday, y'all. Happy Saturday.
They wanted it all. They were so present and giving of themselves, and I've never forgotten that, and it's just been like that every time I've gone.
They treated you like you were a artist, a star. Here, we were just part of the fabric, but there we were special.
I go to Tokyo, I feel like Michael Jackson.
Over here, sometimes they don't really let you know. You know, you may get a couple screams here and there. People are moving, but over there it's just special.
All of these things you've done with your family, and you're just your core group, like hanging out and just being creative and cool or whatever, has impacted a whole different culture in a real way.
And later on, I discovered Remix magazine from that time in Japan. If you look back at it, all of our favorite DJs are there, and Heath has got a column, and he was doing these scene reports and disc guides and charts. It's clear that he cared a lot about that cultural exchange. You brought some of the best-in-class DJs from New York to this remote place far away.
What King Street does or did as a label was really pivotal to continue to infiltrate our club culture around the world, and especially in the Asian community.
Dope. It's really interesting, man. This stuff is really. I love the documentary and seeing this, man. This is the first time I'm seeing it with you guys, so enjoy. Shout out to King Street Records for that. Classic.
The origination of Party Girl really was the brainchild of Daisy and Harry, and they were the brains behind Party Girl, the movie. And then my manager, Bill Coleman, was actually the music supervisor. And so they were the ones who kind of spearheaded, let's bring Ultra in to come up with something for the movie. Al and I got together, we got in the studio, started coming up with ideas. I wrote the song pretty much around the story of what the movie was going to be about. And it was kind of like a girl gone wrong, just trying to find her way. And then after that point, we had this really great song for this movie. And it's like, okay, what do we do with it next? We had the relationship with King Street, and we knew Hisa. And so we pitched it to him to consider this song for release. And he heard it, he got it, and then the rest was history.
Sorry, y'all, but
Most of those tracks on King Street were pretty dope. And if you are a DJ who knows what he's doing, then you're gonna want to play some of the dope music.
Sir.
King Street was never about pop or commercial music. King Street was always true to the underground.
It was meritocracy was the name of the game. There was no internet. So it wasn't about how popular you are. It was about being good at the art form.
If it wasn't for King Street sounds, how would we know Kerry Chandler and his sounds? Dennis Ferrer went to King Street sounds. He went to that door. Blaze went to that door. He said supported that. So we're a community helping each other advance in the sound of house.
In terms of the evolution of King Street, obviously the 90s output is unmatched, but I'd be remiss not to talk about like the mid-2000s moments like Dennis Ferrer's album, which was absolutely stacked with underground hits like How Do I Let Go, P to the J, Touch the Sky with Mia Tutsbala, Church Lady.
Sing her that song.
These records were unavoidable. They were played by all different types of DJs in all different types of clubs.
There was constant flow of a lot of music. He would have a lot of releases. And he had a lot of big hits.
The Mix the Vibe compilations really made an impact on me, specifically Danny Krivitz, Spinners, Joe Lascelles.
I'm amazed how that compilation came on, actually. Because at the time, I didn't have a DJ setup. I remember clearing my desktop off from the office, putting 2 turntables together, a mixer, a reel-to-reel, and an effects processor, and I just went to work. And it was all done in one take.
Not only the music, obviously, but the artwork, the liner notes, they really put, like, hooks in me.
I remember that cover that I did. The artwork was really great.
I was honored because prior to myself working on that, there were so many other notable DJs and producers that had worked on some of those compilations, and I just felt like I was honored to be part of that that pantheon, you know?
It ran the gamut from hard to soulful to techie. You know, Mondo Grosso, Kerry Chandler, Frank Feliciano did one, Spinner did one, Danny Krivitz, you name them, it was a who's who of producers and DJs that were involved in that series.
Boom, 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 boom.
When I write and produce with an artist, I want to reflect what that artist's heart is. If you know Barbara, you know she's evangelical. She's always talking about how to become a better person and better humanity. So I needed a song that reflected Barbara's heart. We was on tour in Japan with Hisa. We was in a minivan, and I thought of this, what is Barbara all about? And I keep hearing in my heart, precious love, precious love. I took out the pen and paper and started writing Most Precious Love.
And when I heard it, I said, I could have wrote this, meaning it felt like it came from my soul. And many people don't even know that it was a down tempo at first. But then when Dennis Ferrer, oh my goodness.
Dennis Ferrer was a hero of that song.
I never thought about these songs would become such a big hit until I heard Dennis Ferrer remix. It was like, wow. And it went to super hit for us.
See that? Most Precious Love, #1 dance record in Billboard. That's interesting to me. The fact that we made the same chart as Mariah Carey, here's another one. Mother and Father, Madonna. Same chart. June 4th, 05, we in what? 2024, that was what? How many, 19, 20 years ago?
I have a W-2 and a 1099, and I spoke with a TurboTax expert who
This is a massive tune in Ibiza 2005, Azuli. I remember hearing it, Pasha, Space, all of that. Ooh, what a happy time that was. Anyway, here we go.
Finding out about King Street kind of came a bit late for me, if I'm honest. I didn't know just how many of the songs I love and like created really formative memories for me came through this label first. It really blew my mind. House music, I think, is a very emotional, emotive thing. Certain house songs create a feeling because they allow you to tap back into certain memories. How Do I Let Go was Southport Weekender. I was with a friend who is no longer here. I will never forget that, hearing it there in the powerhouse with her. So House Gospel Choir have been rehearsing every Monday for 10 years. And the pandemic obviously stopped that entirely. We started making these videos, which we called required videos. We decided to do How Do I Let Go? Well, I kind of forced that one through. I really wanted to do it.
What happens is I'm never direct. Even How Do I Let Go? How do I let go? Yes, because I leave it open for people, for interpretation. Yeah. I can't play How Do I Let Go without crying. Yeah. I literally tear up every time.
I love that.
Because I wrote it for Carlin while Carlin was, he was dying. And so that's How Do I Let Go.
Yeah. It came together and it was so powerful. A lot of the choir were living alone during the pandemic, and I was too. So these videos that we were making were our moment. And I think at first I was just thinking about us connecting. So to discover that people all over the world knew this song, and it's one of their favorite songs too, it had such a reach. But some of the YouTube comments really blew me away. A lot of them were from South Africa. It was just like, okay, it's not just us. It's not just us here in this part of London feeling a bit isolated and wanting to sing a song that makes us feel better. It was people on the other side of the world literally connecting with that moment and probably feeling a similar way too. We were separated and people still felt connected. That's house music.
Hey, said, how do I wanna know how do I let go? How do I wanna know how do I let go? How do I wanna know how do I let go? I wanna know how do I let go? I wanna know how do I let go?
This is Club LickA.
Hi, I'm Michael Piron, CEO of Armada Music.
I like Armada because of their passion about the dance music.
When I started listening to music, it was always soulful music. That soulful element that's really happening in King Street. Every song is quality, and it's timeless music. I'm finding like those gems, which are like, I think, not known for the world, but we are trying to and push those tracks which were being made like, let's say, 20 years ago. We set up a deal with Hissa, the founder of King Street, and he's still involved in the A&R.
I'm hoping like I can release better stuff than ever.
Leaving a legacy is really, really important. And now with the Armada deal, I think they're going to take it to a whole nother level and really open it up to a new audience, which is so important, in order to stay relative. You have your purists, but they're not necessarily going to carry it through. It's tapping into the new audience that's really going to really keep that longevity and keep that legacy going.
And we will do writing camps as well. So we did a writing camp in New York last week with Barbara Tucker, Dennis Ferrer joined.
Look at you. How beautiful.
Last time I saw you was 51st State.
We combined new artists, new producers with the legacy producers from the label, and we expect some really hot tunes from this as well.
I'm writing songs. This is the 4th song. We did 3 yesterday. Now I'm starting again with Anthony and Ryan this time. Ryan has a lot of energy.
There's something about being in a studio with other budding energies, other musicians, other DJs to kind of bounce ideas and vibrations off of.
Okay, so here goes the idea. So the whole idea is get the melody down. Because you can always add words to a melody, right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's why. Yeah, you can keep modulating it.
Now, what are we writing? Basically, I started off, whether it be of a relationship or just your friends.
You think it's right to make me feel a certain way. Although I can think that there's another day.
But you never
Understand what? Yeah, let's talk it out.
Okay, that it's on you.
Bingo. What you never understand
that
is
it's on you.
Bingo. Write it down. Hell yeah.
You're funny. I love you. I'm excited. This track is doing something to me. You gonna let it go?
When those kinds of experiences happen, the music is a reflection of that. And we've had great records that have come out and impacted people because of these kind of gatherings. The exchange of energy, it always translates in the music. When you're all making music together and you reach this climactic apex in the session where everybody's vibing and rocking off of each other, and at the end of the session, we're like clapping, like, wow, we did it. Nothing beats that.
Ready? Yep. This ain't no radio music. These ain't your mama's drums or your daddy's bass. Because when this thing gets into your body and all through your soul,
spice tech music. Who got the keys in them like Lucas?
That's embarrassing. That's the one I like. Fuck me. I like that one. We're done.
Bro, what the fuck?
That's why I'm rolling black. That's why you're the shit. You're all the shit. All the shit.
The way I look at King Street Sound is a label that is part of the present, the past, and the future. You know, by aligning themselves with the new generation and seeing what the new generation's take is on the OG's classic songs. Maybe 4 months after I'd met Dennis Ferrer, and they asked me, do I want to do a remix? That was an immediate yes. I've never said yes so fast. If you had asked me 20 years, would I see myself remixing or working with the artists that I'm listening to that we're releasing on the label, I would have said no. So it's an honor for me to be a part of the family of King Street Sound, and I enjoyed every moment of it.
Now I'm here like 40 years doing house music. I'm in this community and it's not ending. We're still going.
I wasn't part of that.
The reality of what it's become is proof enough that people need it, people feel it.
You want the soulfulness to just move you forward and create these experiences for you. So there's always going to be space for them. There's always going to be, you know, a requirement for soulful house and house music in general.
The overarching story is how house music does have that reach just beyond club culture. The longevity and long-lasting success is really due to just having great taste.
And I think one of the greatest things about the King Street catalog is just the taste level is insane.
Because they just put out so many different styles of music, from super deep house records to the most soulful record that you can get, the kinds of records that have come out that have changed the world.
The fact that they've been around and stayed in the game for so long, somebody wasn't born when they started, and now they're adults listening to the music that King Street put out.
The most important thing he ever said to me was that night when it was his birthday. He said, "I love you guys." That meant the world to me. Like, it wasn't about business no more. It was about, this is my brother Hisa.
Anyone who's thinking about getting into this, they should always be true to it. They should know that they're getting into this for the right reasons, and it's meant to be for music and creativity.
We didn't start this to be famous at it. I didn't think about being famous. I started it because I loved it. This is all I've ever wanted to do with my life. Who could predict that I would actually live my dream?
I see an explosion because of what's going on right now. They're taking, merging this sound with that sound, but not losing the quality of the sound.
Just stay true to your form. If you like banging house, put out the bangingest house track that you can.
You need to understand where the sound was, where the sound is, and where the sound can be. So you have a better understanding of who you are and your place in this. And with dance music, house music, there's a history, you know? So study it and be inspired and be creative and keep it moving.
You may think that an adult that can't stop watching the P Word looks something like this, but this is what they
here, baby. You're hitting them corners too goddamn fast. You need to slow this motherfucker down. You understand? I almost spilled my yak on this $200 suit, nigga. Come on, baby, get it together. Man. Yeah, whatever, motherfucker.
I got an idea.
All right, y'all. I'm out of here. I wanted to test this screen out real quick before I head out, but thanks for coming in, hanging out, watching the King Street story with me. It was really good. I had got some good insight on the background and history of the label. So every time now I play the records now, it's going to be a little more different. But let me try this other screen real quick, which is my tape joint. All right. Looking good, right? All right. Let me just give a quick promo. Hey, y'all. DJ LickA Shot Club LickA. If you're in the area, DMV area tonight, pull up on me. I'll be over at Flash tonight with Arthur J, V. Cochran, and in the green room, or the main room, I'm sorry, we have the legendary Louis Vega. So come on out, man. Hang out. Enjoy the vibes and all that good stuff, man. That's what it is. Club LickA.
This is Club LickA.
All right. With that said, y'all, I'm going to be out. I'm going to raid y'all. Hold tight. Don't go nowhere. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a good weekend.